Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sagittarius time. So, as of today, November the 22nd, we will be having 30 days of Saggy time. So, happy birthday to all Saggies, and hopefully, this reading finds you well. So what actually I figured out over the 2 months of obsessing and finding the balance between what I can do and what I want to do, I would love that everybody gets hour to 2 to 3 hours readings, but it just reality is I don't have that much time. So what I'll be doing, each birthday sign each month is going to have a little bigger reading. However, I'm going to go to the old format where we will have tarot and gypsy and Lenormand, and it was a winner. All of you liked it because it targets all of you, single, relationship, on and off. The other people we kind of like can get lay of the land. Also, guys, before I forget, please, I'm just about to finish my annual scopes, and this is the last call for a pre-order price. Until the 4th of the month, for each individual scope, it's $19.95, and for all of them, it's $39.95. I have actually placed a preview. Wait for the end of this video, and you will actually be able to click and get a really preview for the next year, so you can decide if this is what you want. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump. It is November, December 2017. We are finalizing the year. Hi Leos, as you can see, the mini lion is definitely spending some time here, kind of trying to figure out why is she Aquarius, not Leo. So let me show you what you got. You have waterfall, prosperity begins, hope, heartache and loss, destiny reversed, solitude reversed, manifest, giving and receiving reversed, moment to moment reversed, and participation. So, okay, let's go quickly through it, because everybody is going to be so busy in December. I don't want you to kind of like sit through it for hours to get to the point. But guys, please don't forget to order your Leo 2018. That one is going to be really a movie, hour and maybe 45 minutes or so, right? So waterfall, what is the waterfall card talking about? In this basically configuration, water is just going. Water is just finding its way to basically the ocean. I don't think that water at any point is questioning itself. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it, or how do I get there? Like any obstacle can be actually overcome. It is kind of like one of those deals that you don't really have to fight it. You don't have to worry about that. Maybe sometimes water has to go and collapse down until kind of like the gravity just takes it out, the pull takes it off. So maybe you guys have come to the edge of your comfort zone, and maybe you find yourself fighting to resist moving past maybe that perceived precipice of who you are, how can you be, and maybe what you can do. This is asking you to go beyond that edge, right? And allow yourself to do that with ease. It seems like maybe some of you Leos are struggling right now. At times, a physical exhaustion is going to be necessary, but if you do something with fluidity and grace, even when something seems to be awful and daunting, it simply can be done. So don't fret. Approach the present situation or relationship that you're currently maybe wondering about with awareness and grace. Do not try to make it effortless, even though the card is called this way. this is something that would just create so much more strain, right? If you do that. So key word here is allow. Allow things to happen. This is not a time to fight. This is simply a time to surrender. Even like if you need to surrender off it completely. Just it's one of those things, you know, I'm not fighting. I really do know, and I'm really focusing. I know that I'm going to end where I want to end. So keep your focus also on your solar plexus. Very, very important when I see this card. And allow your breathing to kind of push that energy through, right? Because this relaxing is going to make this whole motion quite effortless. You guys are kind of moving and shaking, like I'm seeing like 3 starters, and it looks like something, one phase has finished and you're moving into the next phase, and you are actually doing some kind of like shifts how to do that. Maybe you're setting up your long-term goals. This card, whenever it appears, it definitely talks long term. You are moving somewhere that something is going to last. It could be in regards to some kind of healing or to some kind of communication. This is the Hope or the Star card. And again, I don't know if you can see it, there is like a new you emerging completely out of it. It could be something financially that basically has to be dealt with. I don't know, guys, if there is a third party included in this entire situation. Because look at that. It almost looks like that something is holding her to move forward. And this looks like the heart has sunk. It's not where it's supposed to be. It just like sunk right to her solar plexus. And again, we are having this duality, wondering how to go. This is basically a card, and this is kind of really closely connected, where something needs to be healed. You guys look for any energy sessions, look for Reiki. I have some on my website as well, because this is telling me you can eradicate. Maybe there are just leftovers of certain things, but you can eradicate stuff that is possibly still present. There are issues that are not turning this wheel. That will be the Wheel of Fortune. This is one of my karma cards. Very, very important card. Like it's maybe on a downside, on the receiving end of maybe things that are not as savory, right? Because look at this, like I have a 9 and 10, both reversed. Like this is telling me like you are supposed to ramp it up. Like you have an 8, you have 9, you have 10. You guys are moving, but like you're moving with an effort, not effortlessly, right? So this is telling me that you have to need to be balanced. You need to get in the balance. The solar plexus again is calling for it. And this is saying, look, sometimes being on your own is important. This card tells me when it's reversed that some of you are feeling lonely. Some of you feeling excluded, right? Because it is a solitude, but solitude is not supposed to be loneliness. When you withdraw yourself, this phase is very, very important for us to kind of figure out what we really need. And in the other decks, of course, this is Hermit. Hermit, it kind of wanders like the mountain to kind of like seek that special knowledge or this magic creation. This is something that we need to find for ourselves. This is why we live here. We have to figure out our own truths. So instead, when we feel lonely, this means we are failing to do that. So each time you kind of end up kind of feeling this way, go and surf YouTube, find a solar plexus meditation, find some kind of Reiki, snap yourself out of it, because you can manifest anything you want, guys. You are kind of like putting your foot down. You may be kind of like managing to turn this around, because the more you heal, the more the hope comes to the fore, the more you turn these two things around. And when you turn these two cards around, then the Wheel of Fortune is starting to work for you. Things are being turned. I think this is possibly also showing Mercury retrograde, because some old things are coming back that needs to be cleared before the new process can start. The lessons to be learned are, the major arcanas are homework. Basically, must be done. Without that, you'll be slipping back. You will not finish it. The next month is going to be harder and harder and harder, and then you collapse and you get a tower. So homework is, please do that. kind of like focus on what you want, focus on where you want to go, focus what is your destiny. Where do you want a destiny to take you? Do not dwell on that heartache and loss, because then you create this different vibrations, then you keep kind of going down. You exactly have to do the opposite. You see, going from this, pulling down, to going to this. So this pretty much is your dedication this month. Some side lessons would be to balance things out. Giving and receiving means, what is off? Have you learned a lesson of being generous to people? We are going in the season of being generous. Are you being too generous? Is somebody maybe else taking things away from you and you're just giving? You have to kind of figure out how to balance this, because if you don't, you're going to only manifest more of this. So this is almost a must. Moment to moment, you don't make big steps forward, because look at him. He does have the city. The city is not built in a day. This is what we see in the background. And yet, he's relaxed. He's balancing. I keep hearing balance, even though we don't have either Temperance or Justice card. But this is what I see. And you kind of are, guys, not getting this balance. You're not picking up on it. So just take it easy. Take it slow. But make sure that you plan all these moments. They're not completely, serendipitous kind of things. And you need to show up, right? You need to show up and be counting. This card is participation. So this is something that is going to the next level. You guys are trying to figure out something. You're trying to manifest something. And there are lots of good ideas. There are lots of good thoughts. You're thinking, oh, well, certain things are not doable, but they might be doable. You just have to kind of cut off certain things that are not in balance. You have to figure out what it's going to take to walk this path, and what's going to take to live this destiny. And then take steps toward that. And then you'll be good to go. So let's see the tarot portion of your monthly reading. Okay, Leo, so what do you have? You have King of Pentacles. You have the Emperor. You have Queen of Cups reversed. Again, you have Ace of Pentacles. The center position, Soulmate card, Two of Cups. You have Ace of Swords. You have Two of Pentacles reversed. You have Knave of Swords or Page of Swords. Then you have Eight of Wands reversed. And then you have Page of Cups. So guys, you kind of looks like you have some kind of need for stability. You have a need for control. You kind of really want to get a grasp on what is going on, trying to figure out certain things. There are people in your life who kind of are contributing to a point, but it could be that there is a third person. There is some kind of juggling on too many ends, kind of there are too many things up in the air at this stage, and you're kind of trying to figure out how to get through it. It is really good thing that you have the Soulmate card. This means there's going to be lots of collaboration in work, where you work, or with your partner. Your partner could be a little bit dictatorial this month and pushing you around. And I don't know, it could be a third person for some reason, because I can see people here. Right? So are you maybe raising your relationship out of the ashes of something that has been gone? Because I see you're cutting through something. You are going into something new and a new way of dealing with things. You are demanding to figure out some truths, right? Even though this is a highly emotional component and the pretty kitty is pushing the paw and saying kind of take my hand kind of a thing, right? The Emperor is still sitting here, which basically could be you, even though that usually represents Aries. But this is sitting on a throne. This is some kind of condition that is really easy for you to comprehend. Again, I see this like long-term start, like there are two aces and two of swords. This is really good. Sort of like confidence is going to be very high. You will really build into that. You will kind of get out of that funk, whatever the funk you fell in it. And I can see this funk. Maybe you are separated from your partner. Maybe there is a third woman over here, Queen of Cups, somebody who is very clingy, possibly. Maybe you are very clingy. It's asking of you, look at this Emperor sitting right here. You can rule your own life. You can be in charge. Remember how you had this Wheel of Life, Wheel of Fortune over there. So like you have to get into that. So if this means certain things have to drop, it looks like the choice will have to be made, right? It's going to be something that you will insist that things are being clarified. Knave of Swords is not necessarily the nicest way to go about that, and somebody might have a really sharp tongue. This is also not necessarily the ultimate truth. It is somebody who is a messenger of truth, who is trying to find and figure out things, and they slip a lot about the ways they go about that. So ultimately the message might be received with a big delay. So Mercury retrograde will affect you. So this would be the messages, but this will be delays. And there is like some love offer coming after all this cutting, and maybe you're going to even get rid of someone unless your thirst for some answers are satisfied. Because somebody might drop somebody, and hence it might be some kind of either miscommunication or no communication whatsoever for a part of this month. But at the end, somebody's coming through with an offer. You're either receiving it or you're giving it. So let's see the Lenormand. So it's going to be more or less situational to see what's happening this month. All right, Leo. We have in Lenormand, first of all, it's a Grand Tableau, 32 cards. Humor me. Try to find another tarot reader that does it for the monthlies. This is just basically seeing pretty much lots of stories over here. So I'm going to cover a few. We have two main significators, the gentleman and the lady. So there is like nothing really happening in between you and a partner. There is like this some kind of stagnation. This is your card, Leo, the Sun. You are kind of like having something that is fate. I don't know what you were talking about last month. Was there something about commitment or about money? Maybe you had some kind of trip that happened that kind of like sort of like pushed you in a different direction in your life. Because where you're cutting with this person is in, I don't know if you can see this here, in the Child, then in the Bouquet, so some, I don't know, maybe conception, then also in the Ship, so the travel, maybe you guys travel together somewhere, then also the money, or some kind of concept, something that is really long term that is happening, and in the Fox. So this could be some obstacle. Somebody is being too smart for their own good. So the Fish and the Fox both talk about some kind of financial endeavors, but you're also cutting in the Coffin. In this deck, something is finalized. It's kind of something finishes, and then the Stork. This is kind of interesting because the Stork can mean delivery of a child, right? It can mean, yeah, kind of like pregnancy is finished in a couple of months. Maybe you'll be mothers or maybe get pregnant. But there is like still something very unknown. There are like some issues. Maybe you're going to have issues at work. But this is not really going to be happening exactly in December. This little bit kind of looks like after this Mercury retrograde. But the current situation is sort of like rather clear. Maybe there are some kind of nagging issues that you're trying to put to end. Maybe you're kind of getting some kind of wiseness about ways how to deal with your partner. So even though I see sort of like there is nothing in between, right? Ideally, you want some kind of cards in between. There is still presence. You're present in his life. He's present in your life, or whatever gender it is, right? But it looks like ladies have a little bit sunnier personality. Mind you, this is sort of like really forget the gender. Any of them can be you. So one type of Leo is definitely exhibiting loyalty and wants to settle down, and kind of like maybe it's going to be some kind of party. Maybe this is talking about the December celebrations and lots of food on the table that I see over here. I also see here communication, something that is really important for the heart, and addressing maybe somebody's bad habits, maybe somebody's bad, upbringing. The fox is somebody who just like blurs things out, just like what we saw in Tarot Person. You had this Page of Swords, somebody just like saying complete nonsense, and they can just mess things up. So, but I think in this particular situation, you see, this is kind of like you and partner meeting. It's going to be some not great communication about that, because it's going to be communication about the money, about the stork, which could mean child, could also mean job promotion as well, and sort of like how to resolve things. You might be moving, guys, not necessarily right away. March on, it could be extended. It looks like you are moving in the spring into something, either in a house or in a high rise. There is like a very strong possibility about that. So this is your Lenormand. So let's now check your Gypsy, because with the Gypsy we are going to actually see people and their emotions and what they want to kind of like do, and most importantly what they want to get away with. So that way you can be prepared. And forearmed is, oh my gosh, I forgot this expression. Forearmed is forewarned. Yeah. Okay, so let's see Gypsy next. Hi Leos. Okay, so 52 cards. This was 32 before, now it's 52, entire Grand Tableau. So this is kind of really hard to read, but let's see different storylines that I can see. So I notice while doing them something really interesting. We have a Lover and Lord. There are two significators generally for males, for single and looking, or for somebody who might be already in an established relationship or who's just simply established. We also have the same situation here. A wife, so somebody who is in an established relationship, or this also can signify a woman with children or child. And Sweetheart, but she's reversed, and Lover is up, and he is reversed, and the wife is up. Then another significator can be a young woman over here, and then we have an enemy and a foe. You can see there are all couplings, and nobody's paired to the person they should be paired with. This is kind of like what is really interesting here. For some of you, it's going to be disastrous. There is a third party over here. So all of them, regardless of the gender, can be you, and all of the stories can be yours or none of them. It just depends on how much of the situation I managed to pick from your energy. Because look at that, here we have the wedding and loyalty, but there are some kind of secrets. Yet there is possibly not 2 but 3 women going on, because we have secrets and issues and depression, and it's all rotating around this wedding card and that 3 party that went crazy. Somebody had too much fun about something. So it looks like the women who can get out of the situation saying, so long, goodbye, I gotta go, c'est la vie. Because here it's kind of interesting. This is kind of getting out. So it almost looks like something that was like so seeked upon to kind of like go and maybe get married. Kind of like went in a different direction, because I see secrets here. There is like this secret person that maybe these two of you know for each other, but neither of you know that there is somebody else who is also hoping to kind of steal the partner. So there is the wrench in this whole thing, and it might be found out, because this is where this misfortune, this is the tower in this deck, strikes. Maybe the communication stops for some reason. This waiting on somebody stops, but it's going to be discussed. The hope is going to be expressed. But I think that woman who is like completely coming out of the left field, or somebody younger, might be the one who is completely actually innocent in this entire situation, not being aware of all these players and all the games played. Because look, wife is knighting the wedding, but the wife is knighting also the prisoner reversed. So this is getting out of the marriage card. And so is the sweetheart. She is maybe dating somebody who's getting out of this marriage situation. And she's maybe taking this guy forward. But this wife is not letting it go easy, because this whole deal is renegotiated. Because look, here we have misfortune, and then we have a double down, fortune reversed, which also is misfortune. So trying to repair situation is moving into something worse, and hence there is like this, can't deal with that, don't want to do it. So this, guys, you will have bad Mercury retrograde. Check your tires, back up your computer, back up your phone, have the case for your phone. Things will go wrong. These two cards rarely come together, and they did come together. And it's asking for you to renegotiate whatever this is. It could be negotiating with a person, something that somebody that is a long distance, because usually this card also tells me long distance, and kind of like putting your ships out. And the ships can be anything: friendships, relationships, partnerships. But all these things are going to come to a kind of a standstill point, because here there's another lady who is also waiting. There's some kind of communication that is kind of depending on somebody who is basically getting out of jail or getting out of marriage. And nobody really wants to wait. Everybody's so unhappy with this. Look at this: jealousy, despair, unhappiness, feeling that everything is kind of false, and just like overall disarray. Then two people here might be kind of crying this whole situation. It's kind of weird. Enemy and foe being together, they can say they're like your friends who are married or hurt together. Could be a couple, could be your parents, could be some other couple that for some reason is interfering here. Could be like, I mean, somebody from work, because I see them having their say, because like almost like these two kind of columns look like they're separating kind of these two things. So this guy, the married guy, does want to come to this woman with a child, or a married woman. But he is also very taken and very sad about something he's leaving behind, or he is injured in some way, because I see enormous depression over here. And then there is also another person here, a friend. Who is a friend? That's a friend who he kind of keeps really close to him. There is some kind of love, but it's inverted, and there is like another child. So could it be, right? We saw that in Lenormand. So there is like child which is not out of love, or I don't understand why is this person so depressed. Is it unexpected pregnancy? And hence, because of the baby, things need to be worked out. Maybe somebody already left and certain things happened, because certain things were dead, right? And then person was recovering from it. To some extent, they were like very unhappy and sad. There is a melancholy card. And to the other extent, they were very joyful. The Allegrezza is like really singing with the joy. Kind of, oh, I'm great. Because there is the priest reversed. Again, get out of the jail card. It's almost like mirroring these two sides. But why is there is no love? But there is the baby. There is a product. And this person is uplifted with the situation. This person wants to come back. But there is lots of suffering in this situation also here. It looks like there's lots of mistrust here happening, guys. And this is like where I saw certain things have to shift before they move forward. And this is like really clearly where I see this as well. So I have also taken one card to seal this reading. And you got this one. Intention, but reversed. And it's kind of interesting because it is 22 major arcana. It's also showing an egg. So the egg this way kind of cracks, right? So let's see what it says. It says, deliberate, clear intentions have the power to change your world. Reversed. Are you clear about your intentions, or are you in a foggy state of denial about your true motives and or ambitions? This is the time to step back and gain perspective and clarity about your direction. Check your motives and ask if they are sincere. Are you pursuing some goal blindly without asking its cost? Good intentions are being misinterpreted. Now is a time for self-evaluation and self-nurturing. You will benefit greatly if you take time out to regroup. I think that's a great advice. Regroup is the key. 22 is a number of master building. It comes to this prosperity, it comes to this money, it comes back to that Ace of Pentacles. And I think the Friend card is really the key card in this reading. Because something has to be built on proper foundations. If you are this young lady here, this young lady does have a really string of almost clarity. That going through that fog, kind of going through it with hope. And I think hope is the key in this reading. But guys, make sure that you kind of like figure out that you shed these things that need to be shed, because that third person keeps coming here, and now even the fourth one. So it's a simple, instead of fighting and arguing among each other, you do that or you do that, because it looks like there is like sort of like that tear, and that tear has to be healed, and it cannot be healed with arguing. There is like some kind of journey that has to happen to heal this tear, and I think it's going to be a spiritual journey. And it's like right next to the house, so maybe home is where the heart is. Think about that. Would love to hear your comments, guys, and please don't forget to order your 2018 Taroscopes. It should be done by the 4th or the latest by the 15th. And until the next time, my dear Leo, love you. Have a good one. Bye.